I had high
gotta
expectations.
Ask you,
Okay.
We have you here. Elon just hit the airwaves today. Bring it up,
man.
dude.
Oh, man.
The fucking shit missile is in the cannon.
Okay. Wow.
Elon Musk, time to drop the really big bomb, right? And I thought this was going to be on Iran.
So it's funny. I haven't even seen.
Right?
I haven't even seen this one.
But he goes, at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Nice signature from a South African DJT.
Man. Well, so just so your audience is aware, when is this going to air? Like tomorrow or 2 days from now?
45 minutes. It's airing now, dude. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
no.
Presumably, when this comes out, people are going to know more about this than even I do
will.
Because
I just learned about
this. Kind of happened on the plane when I was coming on down here. Okay,
I agree.
Look,
this is new.
Here's my basic reaction to like all this stuff is look. First of all, absolutely not. Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, the guy is whatever the Democrats and the media says about him. That's totally BS. Here's my basic read on it. First of all, I'm the vice president to President Trump. My loyalties are always going to be with the president. And I think that Elon, he's an incredible entrepreneur. He's actually done I think Doge was really good. This sort of effort to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in our country was really good. And look, man, I'm always going to be loyal to the president, and I hope that eventually Elon kind of comes back into the fold. Maybe that's not possible now because he's gone so nuclear.
Well, his feelings.
But I hope it is, man.
His
because
feelings are hurt. Why though? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think number one, Elon's new to politics, right? So his businesses are being attacked nonstop. They're literally like firebombing some of his cars. And by the way, we're looking into a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of that stuff we're looking into is an act of terrorism at the Department of Justice because I think it is an act of terrorism. So I think part of it is this guy got into politics and has suffered a lot for it. But I mean, and I get the frustration there, and I get the frustration that, I mean, look, Congress, you got this spending bill. But the main purpose of the bill is not actually spending or cutting spending, though it does cut a lot of spending. The main purpose of the bill is to prevent the biggest tax increase. But I understand, like, it's a good bill. It's not a perfect bill. Like the process in DC, if you're a business leader, you probably get frustrated with that process because it's more, bureaucratic. It's more slow moving.
Yeah.
So I think there's just some frustrations there. But I really, man, I think it's a huge mistake for him to go after the president like that. And I think that if he and the president are in some blood feud. Most importantly, it's going to be bad for the country. But I don't think it's going to be good for Elon either.
But Elon, did Doge, first of all, my first thought was that it's a ruse, right? Because there's a lot of times where the media will put out a ruse or they'll use somebody I think the Diddy thing is a ruse. Like, it's like, hey, diverse communities, stay busy with this shit while we move all these chess pieces, right? Sometimes that's what I feel like it is. And maybe I'm like a pervert or whatever, sorry, or weird guy, sorry. But this has nothing to do with that, huh?
But I'm not a pervert. Maybe you're a weird guy. You're not a pervert. I think you're a good dude.
I appreciate that, dude. So do you think so obviously it was the bill. This is where it's happened. Something about the bill made him upset.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, again, I think he looked at the bill. He didn't like it. And I think it's a good bill. But again, there are things you can criticize about it. Like the president would be very open and say, this is not a perfect bill.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump doesn't get to write the bills, right? Congress has to write the bills.
Okay.
And you got to work with them to try to get something that is as good as possible.
Okay.
So here's what I'll say about the bill. Number one, prevents the biggest tax increase in American history.
It prevents it?
Prevents it. Because taxes are going to go up on everybody in a really big way at the end of 2025 because the old tax law expires at the end of 2025. So you're going to hit a big tax increase. We're trying to prevent that from happening. We're also trying to do stuff. Okay, so you got a lot of people working long overtime hours in this economy. We inherited bad inflation from Joe Biden, so no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. Right? We're in Bob Ritchie. We're in Kid Rock's great restaurant. His servers would not have to pay taxes on the hard-earned tips that they get when they're busting their ass doing a good job. So when working for Kid Rock, man, that's hard work, right? So I think that it's a good bill and it does a lot of good for the American people. But look, Elon's entitled to his opinion. I'm not saying he has to agree with the bill or agree with everything that I'm saying. I just think it's a huge mistake for the world's wealthiest man. I think one of the most transformational entrepreneurs ever, that's Elon, to be at this war with the world's most powerful man, who I think is doing more to save the country than anybody. I mean, I'm 40 years old, anybody in my lifetime. You think about it. It's a guy who not even a year ago, nearly took a bullet in the process of campaigning, went back on the horse the next day. And if you look, obviously I'm biased, but you look at what we've done on the border, you look at what we've done with trade, fighting back against a generation of theft of the American dream, which is what the president's trade policies are starting to do. I just think you got to have some respect for him and say, look, yeah, we don't have to agree on every issue. I'm talking about if you're Elon Musk, you don't have to agree with us on every issue, but is this war actually in the interest of the country? I don't think so. So hopefully Elon figures it out, comes back into the fold. I know the president, for a couple days, I'll tell you, just, I don't want to reveal too many confidences, but, was getting a little frustrated, feeling like some of the criticisms were unfair coming from Elon. But I think has been very restrained because the president doesn't think that he needs to be in a blood feud with Elon Musk. And I actually think if Elon chilled out a little bit, everything would be fine.
It would help. Well, Elon also tweeted that he thought that in the second half of this year that there would be the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Now, who knows what could cause a recession in the second half of this year? It could be a buildup of our entire just history of being alive. But he's saying this. So it seems like, and this is just me guessing, and I don't know Mr. Musk. I never met Mr. Musk. One time he fed my buddy spaghetti at a party, though, dude. My buddy, people were raging and shit, and
your buddy couldn't feed himself the spaghetti?
Well, my buddy said, he offered my buddy some spaghetti, and my buddy said, yeah, I'd like to have some. And then instead,
but only if you feed it to me?
But instead of getting him a plate of spaghetti, he made him some and put it in his mouth, dude.
Does your buddy know Frederick Douglass?
My buddy, I'll say this. My buddy actually is a friend of FDR. Or no.
That's a different.
Sorry, of shit.
Frederick.
I don't know. God, dude.
Okay.
Oh, fucking ruin this shit, dude. Fuck, dude. Civics, man. Chill out. But he said that he thinks but do you think that he just thinks that there's too many, that it's not a fair bill for the people? Do you think Elon Musk is for the people?
I mean, I think that he's making a mistake in going after the president.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his heart is in the right place, man. Okay. I do. Like, I think he got into this for the right reasons. I think he's frustrated. I think he's an emotional guy. Honestly, I'm a very emotional guy.
Yeah.
Like it's the president is it's interesting because if you read the media reports, you wouldn't necessarily see this. He's not like quick to temper. Like he's not one of these guys who flies off the handle. That's a little bit more what I'm like, honestly.
Oh, he's
and
smooth.
I think he's smooth, man. He's stoic.
His
and
blood
I think,
pressure is fucking 007, dude. That motherfucker is.
I don't know if that's good, but,
I mean, but
yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it is where it is.
I think Elon means the best, but I think he's making a mistake.
Yeah, got it.
That's
Understood.
my view.
So Elon was putting in a lot. Was Elon doing it for free all that time?
He was doing it for free. Yeah,
he was doing it for free.
He was doing it for free. I mean, he doesn't need money, right? That's the one thing Elon does not need.
So was he? I wonder if he was expecting anything from Trump and they just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. I'm just curious about it. I'm kind of like, you start to see how all this stuff kind of works, and just like it's like.
Yeah, I hear. I really do think he's disappointed about the bill. He's he disagrees with some of the things that were in there. He's an emotional guy. Look, it happens to everybody. I've flown off the handle way worse than Elon Musk did in the last 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
But my hope is comes back, says, look, made some mistakes. Didn't mean to say everything. Let's smooth it out and let's all be friends. Because again, like I care about the country, and I think the country's better off if under the president's leadership, Elon's helping us out as opposed to fighting the administration. I don't want him to fight the administration. I know the president doesn't want that, but here we are.
Yeah, he just tweeted a little bit ago that he felt like 80% of the what was that? About a third party or something?
He's tweeted like 300 times.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Okay. Then so it's just a
lot
regular
of tweets today.
Just a regular day for Elon. So yeah, he's obviously, he's definitely he gets a bit rogue. Why don't we have
this is interesting.
Pull it up. Let's see it.
This
let's
post
take a
is from an account you muted. I'm curious. Who did you mute?
Who is that guy?
Is that yours? It's one of your producers.
Ian Mealy's Shong. Oh, it said Trump should be impeached and JD Vance should replace him. Dude, that's one vote.
Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about. This stuff is
What are you talking about? Campaigning?
This stuff is just not helpful. Again.
Yeah. Oh, Twitter is definitely.
And here's look. My first loyalty is to my family, obviously, to the Constitution, but politics is a place where people stab each other in the back.
Yeah.
And you can't get anything done unless you're all on the same team and you're actually committed to getting stuff done together. I just think like the idea that the president should be impeached is, I'm sorry, it's insane. It's totally insane. The president is doing a good job, and you can look. You're free to disagree with him, right? Everybody has a First Amendment right.
Are you free to disagree with Trump ever? Like, do you feel like you can?
Of course. I mean, the way that I put it is, if I have a disagreement with the president, then it is my job, obviously, to provide the president honest counsel. Like, he doesn't need me to be a doormat. He needs me to actually say what I think about an issue. But when the president makes a decision, man, he's the general. And when the general makes a decision, everybody's got to go and execute that order. And that's kind of how I think about my job, really, is to be a good ally and a good friend, provide honest counsel to the president, but also when a decision's made, you go out and get it done.
Does he listen to many people, or does he listen to just one or two?
He listens to a ton of people. It's one of the more interesting things about his leadership style is if he's got a big decision to make, he talks to everybody.
Got it.
And I think it's why he's like in touch with normal people is because he doesn't just talk to like congressmen or people with a lot of money. He tries to talk to everybody. Like, I've seen him ask the gardener at Mar-a-Lago what he thinks about a particular issue. I've seen him ask the people who work in the kitchen at the White House what they think about an issue. He's constantly trying to understand what other people are thinking.
Oh, I saw him ask a Scottish Terrier what kind of cakes they like, So, yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely always absorbing kind of information.
He is, yeah.
Was Doge helpful?
It was. Yeah, it was. And I mean, look, Doge continues within the White House and within the executive of the country. I mean, look, there's a lot of ways in which we are wasting the American people's money.
Yeah.
Sometimes spending it on crazy stuff. Sometimes spending it on like actually counterproductive stuff. I think Doge has saved already at least 170, maybe $200 billion. Hopefully it's going to save more. But yeah, I think it was very
so
worthwhile.
Much money. How
that's
could
a ton
you,
of money.
How would you not even notice that? If that much money,
there's so much I could tell you about this. Okay, so one of the crazy things we all figured out like first week or so we're in the White House, okay, is there was a payment that should be stopped because the president signed an executive order to stop a payment. And this is like day one of the White House. We're like, okay, how do we stop this payment? Yeah. Because somebody's trying to make this payment. And nobody knew where like the computer was that actually wired the money from the U.S. taxpayer to this entity.
God.
So dude, the amount of waste and the amount of just grift in the federal government was off the charts. It's still, it's getting better, but there's still a lot more I think we can find.
Who was getting it? I don't know. I don't know one person that was getting something extra. I don't think. Well, or unless everybody was slurping.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were slurping. Man, you look at what. So, for example, there are all these humanitarian programs that we have where we send money for people, for medicine, for food.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but like I think like what I thought before I got in the government, what most Americans think is okay. So we send $100,000 to this group to buy food for like poor kids in Africa, okay? And what actually happens is it's not $100,000 that go to the food for the poor kids in Africa.
Right.
That the NGO, the non-government organization that gets that money, contracts it out to somebody else.
Right. So
and
there's
then
a
they
middleman.
subcontract it out to somebody.
There's
like 3 or 4 middlemen. And what Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State, he's a very good friend. What he told me is that his best estimate after he had his team look at it is that 88 cents of every dollar was actually being collected by middlemen.
No way.
So every dollar we were spending humanitarian assistance, 12 cents was actually making it to people who needed it. That's crazy. So there's a lot of waste, man, a lot of crazy stuff.